David goes full-on villain, willing to do whatever it takes in order to get Switch back. But is it really murder if your whole plan is just to go back in time and start fresh? Make it all right? The inner Davids reveal themselves as we are all Legion. Chapter 24. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review, belated review of Legion. So yes, of course, lots of spoilers ahead, and do want to remind you about our quick jump index system. Just take a look down in the description below. We'll have this entire review coded out, titleized, time-coded. Jump forward to the end, jump back to the beginning. Watch this review in any order you'd like. So, yes, first off, thank you for all of your patience waiting for this review to get up. Learned a few interesting lessons while I was traveling. One primarily, not a lot of internet up in Alaska. A few small towns. Look, the only time that I really had internet connection was Monday morning, which is, of course, before Legion airs. So I was doing my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. review, and yeah, uploading, little difficult. On ship, I guess you can get streaming video to watch. Uploading, not so good. The internet provided by Voom, the fastest internet at sea. But only compared to no internet. Certainly not with upload speeds of up to 1 megabyte per hour. Yeah, it took me days to try and upload the S.H.I.E.L.D. video. So yeah, I just figured I would wait to come back here and get this all fresh and right out to you. Also, it's like 90 degrees in here, so if I'm sweating a little bit, excuse me, just a little glowy. But yes, this week's show, man, yeah, look, I have been pulling for David to be the good guy. You know, yes, he is the, everyone's the hero of their own story. He is the protagonist of this, but from a villain standpoint, no villain is really evil. They're all good in their own mind. I mean, that's what actually makes a compelling villain. So maybe this entire show is just really seeing how anybody can be anything. Even the best person, David being so sweet, especially as a young boy, can become, even with the best intentions, villainous. I mean, the old phrase is, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And David being one of the most powerful mutants on the planet, that's a lot of power, very easy to corrupt, especially with David, who does seem to carry the burden of actually being insane on top of that. Well, maybe not completely tethered to sanity himself. But really, overall, a great episode. We got a great journey. And again, like I said, I love seeing David even doing villainous things with the full intention that he's trying to do good. Yeah, these things are happening, but was he to a switch later on? Did you kill all those people? Yes, but, are you really dead if, you're trapped in time? If we could just go back and redo things and then everyone will be okay? I mean, that is an insane viewpoint. The fact that he has Switch and does have the ability to actually go back in time does add a little sane element to it through its insanity. But yeah, just a tremendous episode with, God, come on, talk about kicking things off with a big boom. That's what we did this week. When you kick off an episode, you wanna have a scene that's gonna pull the audience right into the storyline, really set the stage for the journey that we're about to go through. And they certainly do that with this episode. David's attack on the Vermilions and Clark's poor husband. Clark has so many reasons to hate David. First off, the whole face thing. Yes, technically that wasn't him. That was Summerlin's crew that did the whole explosion-y thing. But, I mean, David had already, shoved a pencil through his face, or hand, I think it was, at that time. Then the whole explosion burned him down, still kept going. But here, with his husband being taken over, or wiped clean, really more to the point, yeah, a lot of reasons for Clark to hate David, but a lot of ways for us to love the opening of this episode. First off, Vermilion Bikers. That was super cool. Then, of course, we've got Clark talking on the phone over to his guy. Why he's out here, I don't know. Running an errand. He's the one that has to do this every week. Clark's going to be very upset that he was on that mission right here. But David needs information, looking for Switch, and takes everyone out to get it. Vermilion's, and again, great scene as they detect him, and he's just standing on the road, just, hey, ready for you to come. Doesn't even move as they mow him, is ready to mow him down, and just shatters the Vermilions on bikes, and just teleports through phases through the front of the RV tank, whatever's traveling through. What is it? Pushes all the guards into the walls, like Lenny all the way back at the beginning of the series. Then squishes the one guy begging for his life through the floor and smushes across the asphalt. Okay, again, a lot of killing. But the line, do what you want, I have been trained to resist. Oh, training, that's in long-term memory. Well, we'll just get rid of that. I mean, again, not suppress it, not hide it. His ruthlessness and just uncaring of the effects that he has. He is fixated on what he wants. And again, this is full-on villain David. There's no other way to paint this picture. Even with the best intentions, this is crossing some serious lines. Though, like I said, beautiful. And just adapting. Who are you? Oh, I'm David, your buddy from college. And I'm looking for my friend now. And it was just so harsh. Doesn't kill, doesn't torture, doesn't even go in and search through his mind to try and resist. Just wipes out all of his long-term memory, all of his basic existence. His full identity is just, like I said, beautiful but harsh. And again, this is just sort of David throughout the episode. It's one of the cool things, but also really showing how he is mentally just falling apart. Even when he gets back to the house, and it's full on Peter Gabriel singing Games Without Frontiers. Awesome scene, great song. Everybody happy, but he can't stand it. Too much noise. Disappear. You killed them. No, they're just gone somewhere else. I mean, yeah, not even really caring what had happened. Why is there sumo wrestling on the insides? I don't know. It's show, but just really throughout this establishing David as ruthless, as the villain, and again gives us that complete turnaround from sort of personally where I want to see David go, and now he really does kind of have to be stopped. But that moment, that sequence leads us into our first look. I can only have one scene of the week, and there are several contenders, so we're just going to list out the contenders. We're going to do a countdown again this week on potential scenes of the week to the actual scene of the week. And we're going to kick things off with, like I said, the scene that immediately follows that, which is Lenny's death, which was just beautiful and heartbreaking, and we get a lot of that combination in with this episode. Lenny now having nothing to do with David. Really an eye-opening experience. That whole scene when time was all ripped apart and she had her family and child growing up and dying, and that whole experience within moments. The real pain of that is so beautifully presented by Aubrey Plaza in this scene. And again, it really is one of those scenes that illustrates the sharp shocking twists that have happened, the difference in the storytelling of the show at this point as we're seeing the characters. Lenny has been with David from the beginning, was the buddy, and then was the mouthpiece of Farouk, and then the begging help me get out, and here his complete compatriot, his partner, his support crew, everything. It was Lenny and David. And now with Lenny having seen the truth, I mean, again, that was just so great. I wasted so much time. I saw what it was really about. All the time wasted with drugs and self-indulgence. And this is what really is. I mean, again, I'm a family man. Family is important. And there is something about seeing when you have someone else, when you have that love, that child thing, and the grow up and the loss, it puts things in a sharp perspective. And I thought that was brilliantly played out right here. All the way up until Lenny taking herself out. Again, unexpected in many ways. I think, one, yeah, that she did it. But in some ways, it was the only way to deny David. David is so powerful, could have gone into her mind and suggested and changed things. He's done it before. So I think in some ways, killing herself was the only way to step out of this pattern, the only way to deny David, as she has seen that David has completely lost it. What he is pursuing is insane, and he doesn't understand the real value that there is to find in life. I mean, again, so much going on here. Also that David let her. I mean, again, didn't go into her mind and forced a change, was willing to let her make her own choice. What's going on, Daddy? Lenny's choosing here. You know, I mean, there was kind of a, again, equals, partners in regards to each other right there at that moment. Also, David's got a lot of powers in controlling actual physical things. Could he have brought her back? Could he have stopped the bleeding and healed the wound? Maybe he doesn't have that power right now, but I was wondering, especially as she took that amount of time to die, was he going to do something to deny her that choice, which would have been a total violation. But I think letting her go was the only way that he and Wei could honor her. Just in that perfect last bit as she's going off. It's blue. Why is it blue? The same, just again, that has always been, from the beginning, their little thing. And that he doesn't deny it. He gives her the gift, the sweet parting. It's always blue. Just repeating those scenes as a way to let her go and not deny her choice. So there was a sweetness as well as just sort of a horror element to it. And again, just a beautiful emotional sequence. A lot of power there. And again, even in loss, a certain level of respect. The next really awesome sequence really was the invasion of the airship. Because it was handled in such a beautiful horror fashion. It's a great element that this show uses very well, is drifting in through these sort of mind-twisty stuff as well as the horror element of the unknown. And I think using, you know, they use camera work very well here. The shadows of just seeing the projections of the shadows of the girls and the knives coming through the hallways. You know, you're getting that view, and you know, the way the camera was moving down some of the hallways and seeing all those moments very much set a great tone of not knowing what it is that's happening. Beautiful shot of seeing when the guards were coming through and we panned up into the ceiling and you see kind of David's projection on the ceiling looking down upon them. And then just boom, poofing each one out of existence or sending where or whatever. I don't even know if David knows what it is that he does with those moments when he asks them to leave. But it was just a whole beautiful sequence, really setting up the spookiness and the horror aspect magnificently. And then, of course, we have the inner David's reveal as Sid has taken over David's body and goes in and hoping that she can control things and really discovering there's a lot more to David than she expects. All the little personalities that we've been seeing slowly pop up over the show, we now see are innumerable inside of David. He is, in fact, Legion. which was a beautiful reveal. Always wondered how the comics was going to deal with the multiple personalities that David has. Of course, in the comics, each of those personalities are distinct, and each one has sort of a different power set. Here, David has all the power, but it's the multiple personalities within him, which serves as a great defense. And this is something I would love to see with a Farouk encounter possibly in the future, is why David would be so powerful, because he is so mentally slippery. There are so many different facets and fractures of his personality that you can't go in and just take over. Each one can fight back, especially when survival comes into play. But again, it was just a great scene of seeing what Sid's whole plan was there to get Carrie to kill David, take out the body, and therefore end things. Now, would she be able to jump back into her own body? Don't know. I think she just told Carrie, yeah, I'll be able to do it, just knowing that this might be what has to be done. But she can't control it because there's not just one David to transfer. That's the main personality. But there are a legion of others. And it was just, an awesome scene. So, yeah, a lot of cool moments, a lot of emotions being felt, a lot of tone being set, a lot of surprise moments. But all of those ideas, I think, were contained beautifully in one scene, and that is, of course, this week's Scene of the Week! And that is David and Sid. It was a long scene. It gave a lot of room to maneuver, but so much happened in it. And again, I love seeing smart people. Sid waking up and David just sort of right there. You know, you never should have trusted him. Farouk, he told me where you were, which he did. And again, I'm going to get into Farouk's whole bit, or at least wonder about Farouk's whole bit in just a little bit. But it was a great scene because we're seeing a real emotional reconnection between David and Sid, or at least that is how it's presented. And I think Sid played this beautifully. I mean, as she comes up and just again immediately tells, oh, looking for Switch? Yeah, he's in a box over in the lab. We can take you there. Why would I tell you? Because you'll find anyway. There's a certain resolution, a resolve to an acceptance of David's attack and what he'd be willing to do. I mean, she even asks, have you killed them all? Yeah, not a good response. This doesn't fill one with hope. But she plays it beautifully, and play being the word. And that's something that I was wondering as the scene sort of went on, because she does an honest sort of resolve. I'm not mad anymore. I was, but I see what you're doing. And, you know, Farouk, I believed him. I was shown all these things that you had gone insane. I mean, a lot of, again, truth. And the best way to lie, the best way to manipulate is using the truth. And I think Sid did that wonderfully. And it just, the whole bit of accepting and reconnecting and an honest, or apparently honest, like I said, emotional reconnection. Even the vulnerability of, does it hurt to be erased? You know, but I'm ready for it. I want a second chance. It was great. And like I said, this whole time I'm just starting to think, I'm like, is she playing him? And as they got close, I'm like, is she gonna stab him? I'm just waiting for a knife to just come up right into David's throat. Or I mean, really. But it was done beautifully because I want to, much like David, we want to believe Sid. Want to believe in the power of that relationship. The two of them can find some way to overcome. And David's whole response even throughout this, again, showing the insanity. I'm going to go back. I'm going to fix things and it's all going to be good. You know, are people, you know, same questions before. Are people really dead out there? They're alive and dead the same moment. Just the justification he does for the mass murder of everyone that he has done throughout the ship, just to get to Switch, is astounding. And certainly would be if he didn't actually have a way to travel back in time and do the things that he says, and maybe that even makes it more insane. But the emotion and play that was done throughout here, and then when Sid reaches up, again in that moment, has pulled him in, done everything that he wants to hear, reconnects, pulls him in, reaches up to the face, and boom, change. Oh, it was so brilliant right there. I mean, it was just, again, suckered David in perfectly by letting him hear exactly what he wanted to hear. Gave him exactly what he wanted. And used that in order to gain the one moment to try and turn things around. Which, look, let's be honest, Sid gave it a great shot. But when you're dealing with Legion, that one shot may not be enough. And I think one thing that made that scene with David and Sid so much more effective is thinking that Sid really did realize, when she sort of realizes what Farouk has done, that it's not just what he has done to try and manipulate her, but is realizing that it was Farouk that actually called David in. I mean, David says that, but when she responds to him with, you know, he didn't like our plan, I think she gets in that moment why Farouk did what he did, calling David up, is because, from Farouk's standpoint, it's rabbit and wolf. The wolf is always going to eventually get the rabbit can just run. But Farouk's not a rabbit, he's a spider. And he set a beautiful web to suck David in, even using Sid and everyone else to sort of give David that feeling of accomplishment, let down his guard. Farouk's a strategist, David is impulsive. So when David finds Switch and walks right in, he walks right into the spider's web. And they illustrate that, I think, perfectly with having him pulled up and out, suspended, powerless. And I think when Farouk is talking about trapping David in a place where he can't touch anyone, I think it's kind of what happened to Farouk in a way. He's going to put David in the Switch box, put him in sort of suspended animation, keep him out of everyone's way. But that doesn't really work out well for Farouk. And I wonder sometimes through this, what is Farouk's plan? Is it just survival? I mean, he did sort of take over David, and even when he reached out with David to tell him where they were, again, we flash back to that scene when Farouk took over David as a baby, referring him to the same way, oh, my beautiful boy, like a parent, but also like an equal. And I think that's how he's able to work and manipulate David in that sense. First off, as being a villain, summoning that bit of revenge. What does he call David? My poor beautiful boy, corrupted by a thirst for revenge. Something along those lines. To go after Farouk. And then baiting him. You are a god. Gods do not obey rules. They make their own rules. Come after them. Show them who you are. Again, beckoning him up, empowering him, making him feel that Farouk might even be some sort of ally in his fight, just to get him into the web. But again, what is Farouk's ultimate goal? Is it survival right now? Is he trying to just destroy David to stay on top? Because he has constantly sort of played with him. And I still think there's a bigger game that Farouk is playing. Though, admittedly, might be a little hard now that he is stuck in the time between time. Which, again, beautiful sequence as David is just trying to reach out to Switch and all of that. It's all right, my child. I have forgiven you. Come on out. And just delays enough in order for Switch to pop out, open the portal, and send Farouk right into that time between time. It's good to get Farouk out of the way. Don't get me wrong. I love that. But it was just a great sequence. And again, I am still wondering what Farouk's larger plan has been through all of this. Is he trying to help David? Is he trying to take David out? Or is it really just survival now? And of course, everything ends with Switch open a door in the back. David's plan can now finally go into action. And poor Switch having nightmares. That was a whole cool sequence, by the way. I did love that of when Switch was put into the capsule, kind of reflecting back to her dad, the robot maker. And really in that scene up at the end where they come and shows the turnkey, almost thought for a moment, is she actually a robot? Was she created by her dad? A girl, a bot that believes that it's a girl? But no, I think that was just symbolism, is her winding down, being put into the capsule, and sort of shutting her off from traveling through time, even existing through time. Suspending her mind. I think that with the turnkey stopping and the little robot falling, just symbolism for how she is feeling. And maybe a bit of the dreams, how they're all manifesting, which is why she wanted to get out, because, yeah, those are all pretty horrible dreams. But an interesting final encounter with that, with David. He doesn't want to go back to his mom. He wants to go one other place, one small change, and that will change everything. What is that? Don't know. Does get the warning. If we do this again, the demons will come out. Just one tiny little thing. Again, discounting the true dangers and the obsession of his own mind. And sure enough, as they jump into the time tunnel to go back in time and do the one change, it doesn't fully clothe. It switches and grows, and we get our last flash of the time cats. I'm going to keep calling them that. Ready to come out. So yeah, David might think that he's just going to do one small little change, but things don't go easy that way. Alright, just a couple of small things. One, like I said, David doesn't believe any of the evil that he does really is a problem, because his whole plan is to just go back and change things. A lot of people aren't really buying it. Of course, we have Switch at the end asks, at the very least, doesn't that bother you? Did you kill everyone? Most. Or none. Because of the whole time thing. Doesn't that bother you? And that does cause him to break out into song, which, look, I like the musical numbers fine enough. I thought this was honestly kind of unnecessary. It was workable just because they did it well. And certainly when you have a frozen Clark in space singing along with you, and a dead Lenny, and autonomy bots and the Vermilions and everyone, and mind-wiped Sid, it does allow you to pull that off. But ultimately, I didn't really like the whole song moment too much. But also, Lenny, even from the very beginning, pushing that as David keeps trying to push. I can take it all back, baby. We can change it, and maybe you'll get them back. And of course, she sees what BS that is. Is that really what sort of prompts her to do it? Liar! And that's the whole stab to the neck. So, yeah, the obsession of changing things, and that allows you to justify whatever it is you do, very heavily played in this episode, and I think to great effect. Yeah, so what are David's villainous moves? Let's see. Shatters the Vermilion, pushes the guards into walls, squishes man pleading for his life through the bottom of the bus, makes a bunch of guards on the airship disappear, makes his culty girls also all disappear to somewhere, maybe, hopefully. Let's see, what else? Oh, yeah. Clark shoves through the airship out into low Earth orbit, into space. Carrie was so excited to go into space. Good for her. And mind wipes. Mind wipes. And so Clark's husband, again, also cruel, long-term memory, completely mind wipes Sid so she can't do anything after him. And even then, that's just I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'll change it. I'll make it all better. It's not really how things go. So, did I get everyone? Carrie just seemed to get thrown back against the wall. I'm not sure if she was actually killed or not. I mean, we had Carrie holding her in the hallway, and they were singing afterwards, but we had dead people singing also, so that doesn't really say anything. So, that's a lot of deaths. That's a lot of harsh murdering right there, David. Most, or none, depending on time. I did love Clark's final line. I mean, as he hears the noise, turns, his guns turn into a duck. Squeaky duck. I should have killed you when we first met. Yeah. Bye, out into space. Anyway, appropriate line, great scene, a lot of deaths. The transition from atmosphere into low Earth orbit's very murky thing. Here there seemed to be like a force field over the planet that they broke through when they went from atmosphere out into space. They just plain visuals there? Are they saying something a little bigger about the technology and what's going on Earth? I mean, it could really go either way with this show. I thought it was cool looking, but it was also like, what? Alright, so I think that pretty much covers everything. There's only 3 episodes left. And next week we will find out what is the one change that David has in mind. It's not going back. It's him as a baby. It's not dealing with his mom. Does seem to be focused on Sid, if the next week previews are to be believed. And I gotta say, really excited to see Oliver again. I've been thinking, where has Oliver been this whole season? I want to see him. So I'm glad he's going to pop up. Very curious to find out what that one change is and how David expects that to fix everything. But again, only 3 episodes left, so a lot of storyline to cover. Is David going to be the villain? Is that really what this whole story is? Watching that arc, watching how anyone can be a villain, or even villains can be good, or is everyone a villain depending on how obsessive they can get? Anyway, very curious how this is going to lay out. Cannot wait to see it. But that will wrap us up for now. Now, of course, tomorrow is the next episode, so this is going to be like 24 hours into the next review. So that should be quick, and that should be on time. Once again, thank you all so much for your patience. And if you happen to like this review, you can go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, throw those down in the section below. What do you guys think about this episode? What are you hoping to see as things wrap up? Where is it that you want to see David end up? Is he going to fix everything? Is he just going to be trapped somewhere where he can't be a problem? Does he change time? Looks like he does. And is that going to be enough to fix his life? Let me know what you guys think. Throw your thoughts down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please subscribe. We got a couple more episodes of this. Big finale of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming up. Preacher's final season next month. Plus, we'll be doing a wrap-up of the season 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And we'll be doing, in the next few weeks, over on Enchantment of Eternity, Mark's channel, will be doing a review of Lost Seasons 3 and 4. So a lot of fun stuff coming up. Don't catch any of those reviews or notices. You want, if you're a subscriber, do that by clicking this button right here. And we'll throw up a couple of our latest reviews right here for you to check out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.